Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a movie review. Hey, sorry about the jingle, my dog. Look at that. Oh well. Today we're doing a raw review, kind of like my review of Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. Today we are reviewing one of my favorite movies and a historical adapted or based movie. I don't know what's the difference. Spartacus, 1960, starring the um the famous Kirk Douglas, one of my favorite actors. Spartacus is about the historical Spartacus, the gladiator who fought Rome and who led a huge slave revolt known as the Third Servile War. Spartacus led his slaves to defeat multiple Roman armies. He led them to, I think, kill the consuls, which is huge. And it's a tragedy because in history it ends up that Spartacus dies in battle against the Romans, and the Romans eventually wipe out the Romans. I mean, they eventually wipe out the slaves. This movie is based on that story. Kirk Douglas plays Spartacus, and this is a tragedy. I think this is a blockbuster film, action packed, right? Some romance, and it has Kirk Douglas lead his slaves into a revolt. Curiously, I when the film begins, you Kirk Douglas the film actually takes a long approach before the slave revolt. It has this interesting dynamic between Rome and the slaves, because while the Romans are eventually going to have to, deal with the slave revolt, that you also see some curious intrigue because the main enemy is Spartacus in this film is Marcus Crassus, a Roman consul and one of the future triumvirs of the first triumvirate. It has this nice dynamic between Crassus, who wants power in Rome to be the top guy in Rome, right? But it also has him trying to play this game of wits with the Senate. It has this character named Gracchus, this old man of the Senate, who, even though he wants Spartacus, or no, it's weird, but while Crassus wants power, people in the Roman Senate, notably Gracchus and his protege Julius Caesar, are trying to work against him to make sure he doesn't have power. And meanwhile, Spartacus, he meets his future wife or his lover as a gladiator, and he's trying to also lead his people to safety. So while Crassus is dealing with enemies back home in the Senate, Spartacus has to deal with enemies around him. The Romans, yes, but he also needs to feed his troops. His army is very big, and he also has to ensure their safety. And it has this dynamic of Spartacus trying to constantly find a way to get out of the main Italian countryside. Of course, in history and in this movie, Spartacus, he tries to make a deal with pirates to get his people shipped out of Rome, because they're all in the south at this point. But he gets betrayed. The pirates double deal him, and Spartacus and his men are virtually wiped out. But I like how this film doesn't end Spartacus at that battle. In real life, Spartacus dies in one of these last two battles, but in the movie, Spartacus survives. You have this famous scene where when Crassus tries to find Spartacus out of this main horde of prisoners, of slaves, they all just shout, "I'm Spartacus," and that was a famous quote that people sometimes today still say. And it takes a nice the film has a nice plot where Crassus doesn't want to beat Spartacus on the battlefield. He wants to beat him, as a person, human being, because Crassus wants to be the top guy, right? And he can't deal with the fact that Spartacus is like a god and like a hero in the eyes of slaves. It's kind of funny because I think Crassus tries to seduce Spartacus' wife, and yeah, but he eventually finds Spartacus. Crassus, yeah, he finds Spartacus, and he eventually crucifies him. But Spartacus, his wife, she manages to escape, and the film ends with his wife having their kid. She shows him to Spartacus, who's on the cross, and the movie ends with the wife going supposedly to Gaul to freedom, while Spartacus remains. I think he dies or he's laying on the cross. You see this long overshot of Spartacus and a lot of his men, just on the cross's crucifixion. So it's sad. It's a tragedy, but it does have a happy ending. There's this I must say the music score, it's very underrated. I think it should deserve more credit. It's very iconic. I still listen to it today, and because there's a love theme in this story between Spartacus and his wife, that love theme, it actually the score composer, he embeds it in other tracks for other processes. When Spartacus is you know you can pretty much know when it's coming. In regards to Kirk Douglas, he recently passed away 2017, I think, and I didn't know about him. He was very famous for this film, but unfortunately, after the movie, he was actually blacklisted by Hollywood for because at this time Hollywood was in the 60s. It was all about, if you're a communist or have a communist sympathies, we're gonna blacklist you. And Kirk Douglas was unfortunately put on the blacklist. So his career took a sharp turn, and yeah, but I think his career was, or his name was sort of reinstated after the fall of after all that fever and hysteria went away. People finally looked back and said, Douglas, he was a good guy. I heard about Kirk Douglas on the news when he passed away. I was taking a French class, and I looked back to see who was this guy, who's Kirk Douglas. Like, I knew about the movie Spartacus, but I didn't know the actor. And he's I saw one of his talking conversations with other people, and he spoke French. And I showed it, and I told my French teacher, "Hey, sir, this guy, famous actor Kirk Douglas, recently passed away." And he was asking me who, and I told him, Kirk Douglas. He was in Spartacus, and my teacher knew who he was. And I told him, "Hey, did you also know that he spoke French pretty fluent? He had an accent, but he spoke pretty damn good French compared to me." My teacher said, "Yeah, yeah," and it's sort of like, I was kind of like content to know that American actors such as Kirk Douglas, even though they know how to they know that speaking another language helps. So it got me into him. I watched this movie Spartacus for the first time, and I was really enthralled. I did not expect that once again, I'm taken aback by the fact that the film gave so much scenes to Spartacus as a gladiator, really building up that mood before the rebellion, and to that Senate's cat and mouse games between Crassus and his protege and Gracchus. But the film actually I'm not sure if this is like a lot of people, when they talk about Spartacus rebellion in that time period, they also like to include that Julius Caesar would perhaps maybe participated in the war under Crassus. I know in those TV shows and other movies that they always show Julius Caesar as a young guy in under the wings of Crassus, or in the war. I'm not sure if that's historically accurate because there's no documents to accept or deny if Caesar was in the was was active in this time period. It's very much possible. I don't know, but in this movie, Julius Caesar, there's really nothing to say about him. He's a protege of Gracchus, the enemy of Crassus in the Senate. Crassus actually he turned Caesar away from Gracchus by reminding him of I think honor. Like he exposes the shady dealings of the Senate, and he turns the young Caesar away from him. But there's really nothing. There's nothing to do with Caesar in the movie. He's not really impactful that much. I think I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, but this is a raw review. So there's also this good actor. I think his name is Antonius. He actually is a friend of Spartacus. He is actually killed by Spartacus in a memorable scene. It's very underspoken. Spartacus is forced to fight his friend Antonius as Crassus. He's about to execute one of them. No, yeah, he whoever wins the battle will be crucified, and Spartacus actually kills his friend out of respect, and it's really underspoken. There's a lot of good scenes in movies which are often forgotten by the mainstream media or people, but this is one of the underspoken scenes that people don't really talk about. There's also this battle where Spartacus fights his friend slash comrade ally in the arena before Crassus, and his friend actually beats him, and he rushes over this yeah. Uh, he actually rushes over this part of the battle, and he rushes towards I think that's Crassus and his other buddy. He rushes over that building, and he tries to kill or attack the people there, and he's killed. And it really leaves an impact on that he I don't know. It's hard to describe that scene, but it's just there's something about it where a gladiator. There's always like scenes in movies where you show a gladiator having died a good man, right? In this scene, it doesn't really show it, but it shows that gladiators, they are skilled warriors. They are in Rome, they were put on for entertainment, but they are people too, and they also know that Rome, they're full in themselves, and it shows that these gladiators can can choose to oppose the Romans. I don't know. I might be giving too much to the scene, but there's just something about it. And mhm. for there's also another scene before here before the main battle, before Crassus's no Spartacus's army is utterly destroyed by Crassus's army. There's a scene where where Spartacus, he moves through his army because his army is full of children and women and of the slaves, and he's just looking over them, and they're all preparing for the battle. There's a scene where a kid asks his mom when can they go home, and there's like a sad look on Spartacus' face. Very underrated, not talked about much, but he knows that tomorrow will it's not looking good. In history, Spartacus, when he's faced with the option of fighting Crassus, there's a chance he can beat Crassus, but there's also another army nearby under the command of Pompey the Great. And in this movie, Pompey, you don't see him, but you know of him. And that if Spartacus wins his battle, he's still gonna lose. And there's a sad a tone in this scene because Spartacus, he just knows he's gonna lose. And the music score, it has this a nice I would say it's hard to describe that tone because you see all these children playing around during the night, right? And you see a smile on Spartacus on his face, but then the score changes slightly because these are children. They have lives. They are, we love children, right? But then you also know that they're not gonna. There's a good chance they're all gonna, they're all gonna die, and it's a really sad thing. And yeah, this film, I don't know. It has like a high mark where Spartacus is he's beating Roman armies, but then it has that climax where Spartacus and his army are virtually crushed by the Romans. And I don't know. This film is great. It's very I wouldn't say it's very complex. It doesn't really have that much complex characters other than Spartacus, Crassus, Gracchus, but it does have these nice, intriguing mini plots where Gracchus and his protege Caesar are trying to outmaneuver Crassus in the Senate and trying to make sure that he doesn't have the power to march into Rome. Uh, as a historical movie, it's pretty accurate. It might be taking some liberties here and there, but honestly, it's a great movie. I would say it's great. It's better than Gladiator, and it does have this movie does have that that classic action packed movie. You can tell the budget was really high up here, and the actors were really good. I don't think of a single bad actor in this movie except maybe Caesar, but his actor's pretty good. I just think his character's kind of bland. But there's really no bad parts of this movie. Once again, I must say that the music, it's just, you gotta listen to the music. It's really good. There are a few shots here and there, some editing where it's kind of wonky, but it's back then it was acceptable, and right now you won't notice it. It's a good movie. Out of 10, it's a solid 8. And 8.5. I don't know. I'm not good with that, but great movie, great cast, great acting, great score. I just can't stress that enough. And rip Kirk Douglas and to all these actors. I really feel like they were good people, and I'm glad that they're still remembered in a fond way. And my respect to Kirk Douglas. Rest in peace.